Good evening to the Aussies, good morning to the Europeans. Welcome back, everyone, to OFI. Once again, we're here for round 4 of the Championship, where we head to Italy and to the Imola Grand Prix, of course. A brilliant track, one that's quite controversial in the recent games with the track limits and the fact that many drivers don't actually like this circuit, but either way, we've still got 15 of them that are going to take to the track tonight. And joining myself, Nathan Richards, in the commentary box, a very bald Nathan Richards, is Jaden Oakley. Jaden, welcome in. Of course, we're heading to Imola. What are your thoughts on that track for this evening's racing?
It can be a bit dodgy at times, but yeah, that's what it's all about, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we go.
Yeah, certainly. And of course, the championship so far has been quite a whitewash by Gregory Pribble, of course, winning the opening 3 rounds in Australia, Qatar and Canada, taking him to 77 points. He leads by 32, ahead of Oscar King in second. Third, it's Campbell Adams, but he's not here this evening. Fourth, it's Riley McKay, with Jack Humphries rounding off the top 5 on 24 points. Then in P6, it's Marcus Costa on 20 points. Seventh, it's Yusuf Syed on 18. Eighth, it's Trent Newton. Ninth, Ryan Cox, and then Potato rounds off the top 10 of the standings. And of course, we had a very interesting round last time out in Canada. So, Jaden, let's have a look at the results from that race.
Yeah, Gregory Pribble took a 3 for 3 victory, but didn't come as easily for him as he would have expected. Obviously, a very tight finish there, with Campbell Adams actually catching him right at the end of the race, and he would have actually won the race if it weren't for his 3-second penalty in the end. But Gregory Pribble has taken it home, and he'll be going for a 4th consecutive win tonight. And then Oscar King rounds out that podium. So that's the same podium for 2 consecutive races. Obviously, won't be possible tonight because of Campbell Adams being unavailable. So we will have someone different on the podium at the very least to look forward to. And then Trent Newton as well, as a reserve driver, had a great race, finishing in 4th. And then Jack Humphries, Yusuf were P5, P6, 2 OFI stalwarts, having a good run in again. There was a big gap between the top 2 and the rest of the field, and then it was Riley, Potato, Plevs, and Thomas McInnes that rounded out the points on that particular event. So a lot of those drivers are competing once again tonight, and they'll be looking to improve their result. Obviously, as I said, there's a podium spot up for grabs there. Gregory Pribble will be looking to get another win, but who can be there to challenge him?
That will be the main question indeed. We have got all of our drivers on track because apparently rain is on the forecast in around 10 minutes time, so they're going to have to get their laps in nice and early, hence why everybody is all heading through the final corner to get their lap underway, as Marcus Costa will have to go again, unfortunately invalidates at the opening chicane. Let's have a look at Ryan Bell in the Aston Martin, heading down towards the Villeneuve chicane. Of course, a very quick right-left corner, and then of course in towards Tosa at turn number 7. Later on the brakes, get the car turned in nicely, and will actually be held up slightly there by Marcus Costa in the Mercedes as we head up the hill in towards Piratella. Of course, another quick left-hander. Get the car turned in, try not to run too wide on the exit, and then head down towards Acqua Minerale. A very tricky section of corners, very easy to lose the car and very easy to run a tad wide. Nice so far by Ryan Bell as we head in towards Variante Alta, the chicane at the top point of the circuit, and then you head your way down towards the 2 Ravazzas. So a decent lap so far here for Ryan Bell, but of course the chances are they've only got 1 or maybe 2 laps at a push, so you've kind of got to get your best lap out there right at the start, which we all know that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it really tricky for these drivers early on, as Ryan Bell with a 1:14.1. Not a bad start at all, but Gregory Pribble knocks it off by almost over a second, so really solid stuff there. But yes, real challenge. A few of the drivers will be hoping that they could ease their way into this session, but all of a sudden you're forced into going full push straight away, and we can see the lap times coming in thick and fast. Easy back Riley McKay has gone just faster than Gregory Pribble there. And now Plev's coming to the line. It doesn't look like he's going to go too high up. It's a 1:14.4, so that was just a bit of a slow warm-up lap for him. And what about Seb King down in P12? So a few drivers going to go for a couple runs, obviously. And Riley Mackay leading the way just by Gregory Prisball. And then there's a huge gap down towards Thomas McInnes in third at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. Looking at that gap there, you can see it's half a second separating the top three, but there's only 9,000 separating the top two, and that just shows the level of a couple of our drivers here in this tee-up. Of course, Oscar King, we'd expect to see him a lot higher than that, so I presume there must have been a mistake on his lap somewhere. As Marcus Costa again finding an invalidation, this time eating the curb at Variante Alta, and unfortunately that means he's going to have to go back into the pits, because I don't think he would have fueled up to go for 3 flying runs. There we go, he's into the pit lane. And then of course we've got Sebastian King, who's yet with a representative lap, currently on a 1:16.3, and he's a second down in sector 2, so I'm sure he'll also be heading back in and then going out again shortly. But of course, with the rain on the radar, they've kind of got to go in and go back out straight away here, otherwise they could certainly be caught out by the rain here in Imola, which around most tracks is difficult. I think Imola, it's another step harder because, I mean, this track's difficult to race and qualifying in the dry, never mind when you've got no grip at all.
Yeah, exactly right. And all the drivers now back into the pits. You could see, I saw quite a few invalidations there on both runs. So the pressure of the rain is sort of getting into the drivers' minds a little bit. And you can see that's created a larger gap in the lap times than what you'd usually expect. We've got 3 seconds between the first and last, and Marcus Costa hasn't even set a lap yet. In fact, he's the first driver to be right back out there on the track. He's keen to remedy those 2 errors to start off the night and get this lap in. And I think I just saw a little bit of rain come through on my screen there. I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but if that is the case, we are rapidly running out of opportunity here for the drivers.
We're going on board here with Marcus Costa, and sometimes the rain takes a little bit of a while to appear. And I mean, the chances are you probably have seen the rain, and I'll see it in about 2 minutes' time with the way this game works. So, yes, we'll have to see if the rain does appear. It does look like there's little droplets forming. There is, yes. My camera has got little raindrops on it now, so that tells us that the rain has hit the circuit. But with it being extremely light, normally you can just about get away with it for a lap. It just depends how quickly the track gets sodden wet. Of course, Marcus already invalidating on his out lap. It doesn't seem to be Marcus's favourite track, I think it's safe to say. Imola, and already a massive slide heading out of Aqua Minerale, so that could be it here for qualifying in terms of setting a representative lap. You might see some of those who, likes of Oscar and Jack, who might find a little bit of time based on the fact they had a poor first run, but there might be many drivers that can't find anything on their best laps, especially if it was a good lap for their standards. So Marcus Costa out of the final corner, heading down towards the Tamburello chicane. Let's see if he can actually do anything in this wet weather, because the rain doesn't look too heavy, but of course you only need a slight bit of rain to affect the grip.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to watch now as he hurtles down towards turn 1, and a little slide there, and he did run off track, and it is not looking very good for Marcus Costa or any of the other drivers at the moment. And we'll see if he can make up any sort of time here, and you can see how much he has to slow down, and just the curbs as well, getting a bit slippery. And Jack Humphries is already retired, so this might just about be session over. The only realistic time, Seb King's 1:16 that he could be able to knock off, but that is going to be a unlikely possibility at the moment. Although he has picked it up well here through the middle sector, has Marcus Costa, but he's lost it as I said that. And yeah, this is not looking overly good. I'm not sure how everyone else is going. There's a few invalidations, and I see Ryan Bell spinning around as well. So I think that is all she wrote for quali, unfortunately.
Certainly could be. Let's have a look at Joey Snarf, of course, on a 15.6. Sebastian King's bailed it into the pit lane, so I think that tells us he doesn't think he can find any pace. Joey Snarf has gone for a lap, and of course he's currently on a 1:15.6, and that is certainly not the sort of lap times we're expecting to see. So let's see if he can find anything, and I don't think he will. He slides out of the Tamburello chicane, and he's 3 seconds down in sector 1, so that is pretty much quali over and complete. And with only 1 lap, it's very close at the front of things. 10 thousandths separating Riley Mackay and Gregory Prigibble for the top two. And then third, it will be Thomas McInnes in third with a decent 5/10 gap back to Gregory. So this could be a little bit of a two-horse race, potentially.
Yeah, early indications do suggest that, but Riley McKay will be thrilled with that. That's his first pole position of the event so far in the fourth race, and he got it just by being quicker right off the bat there. And obviously this will also mean drivers don't have a real good warm-up in this qualifying session either. They've only done a couple laps at the most, and a few of them were already making mistakes. So this could spell an interesting start to this race as well. Drivers are really going to have to be on it at the start. And yeah, Riley McKay, Gregory Prisball did well to get that first lap in also. But the grid order is actually shaped out pretty normally in terms of where the championship order is. So it should be a decently representative grid. Yeah, but really well done to Riley McKay there. I don't think there's going to be any chance of him losing that tonight.
Indeed. So once Marcus goes in, we can conclude qualifying, hopefully, and then we can get going for the race. But I'm sure somebody's going to go out on a set of the Inters just to disrupt things. But yes, as they all head in, of course, the race will be interesting. I don't know the weather. I don't know if anybody can give me a hint or give myself and Jaden a hint of the weather so we know what's going to go on for the race. But normally, if it goes from dry to wet, surely that continues on being wet into the race, I'd imagine?
Yeah, it might do, but the fact that no one else has actually gone out to set some practice laps on the Inters makes me think it might be dry, just because I think a few drivers would take advantage of those, of a bit more practice in those conditions. So I could be wrong, but my feeling is that it might be a dry race here.
Indeed, we'll have to wait and see once they all decide to retire, because they're all just sitting there in the pit lane. But of course, as we said, it's going to be very close between Riley and Gregory, as we do have somebody going out on a set of the Inters. Who is it? It's going to be Ryan Bell. So there we go. If it's not a wet race now, I'm going to be very annoyed after, because we're going to waste 7 minutes for absolutely nothing. But no, we have a car going out. Ryan Bell on the set of the Inters. And well, we'll have to see what he can do, because this track is a very, very difficult beast in the wet. So let's see what Ryan can do on his opening lap, and hopefully not put it into a barrier.
Yeah, I think Ryan's just taking this advantage to make us all watch him drive, to be honest. He's the only one who's out there on the track, and it's kind of forced entertainment for not just for us, but everyone watching the stream as well. So if you like watching Ryan Bell drive, then this would be an absolute pleasure for you.
Indeed. I'm sure he's got many fans in the world of racing.
Yeah, well, he might not have many fans amongst this grid who have all retired and are ready to start the race, I think.
Good point, yeah. Good point. I think they'll be very angry. Maybe there'll be a few dive bombs into the chicane at turn 1 by Matt and MJ and Joey all further behind. Very annoyed with Ryan for this, and I'm hoping that he goes back into the pits after this. Otherwise, he's just choosing to get himself a little bit of airtime.
Yeah, that's right. So 5.5 minutes to go, but we should be able to get this race on a little bit earlier than what is scheduled. It was a very quick session. It was almost like a one-shot qualifying in a way there. And Ryan Bell is staying out for another lap, so he's just going to continue to really soak this up.
The question is, can he beat the time of Marcus Costa? I know obviously he's already ahead of him, but the Inter's going to be quicker here in the sense of not being 7 seconds off. We'll have to see, because I don't know all these deltas, and I don't really know how much time you lose on a set of Inters compared to a soft tyre. So we'll have to see if you can actually try and compete with the times at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, that Marcus Costa would have done that lap right around the crossover period there, because it was raining a bit. He did have a few slips and slides as the lap went on, but yeah, I guess that is what we're going to be looking at here for Ryan Bell, who's got a 1:14.1 under his belt and has somehow avoided a track limits penalty there. But yeah, as we watch this in the background, we can have a look at our grid here. Riley McKay, Greg Prisball, Thomas McInnes, top 3. And then Oscar King, P4, will be looking to move his way up. Jack Humphreys, P5, and Yusuf, P6, the positions they finished in last week as well. And then Potato, Trent, Ryan Bell, Plebs, top 10. So pretty similar drivers to the top 10 last week, just a slightly different order at the moment.
Yep, certainly. And of course, constructors-wise, this really does help Williams, I suppose, with Yusuf and Potato. Both up in the top 10 as Ryan Belt goes into the pits and we can get ourselves ready for the race. Finally. Thank you, Ryan. Do you think he got told off by all the drivers?
I think they'll be very annoyed. But to be fair, he's got 2 more laps in than everyone else has, so practice is practice, and that could be an advantage for him come the race.
Could be. It certainly could be. But let's have a look at the results from qualifying. So it's going to be Roland McKay, who takes pole position ahead of Gregory Perugibble in second place, with Thomas McInnes in third ahead of Oscar King fourth, Jack Humphries the top 5. Then we had Yusuf, Potato, Trent, Ryan and Matt the top 10. And then we had MJ Roller, Joey Snarf, Sebastian King and Marcus Costa, the full 14 on the grid, ready for the Imola Grand Prix. Now, before we go in, Jaden, any predictions from yourself of what we could expect to see from a potential top 3 here?
I would be very surprised if Riley McKay is able to hold Gregory Frisbell off. We know he's won all 3 races, and Riley McKay, he hasn't been quite up there in that podium battle to start the season, but you never know what can happen. But I do think Gregory Frisbell is the hot favourite to take home his 4th consecutive win.
Yes, certainly. It's going to be, I suppose, a little bit easy for Greg with the fact that there's not going to be so many cars behind looking to battle with him, because Oscar seemed a little bit off in in qualifying, and of course there's no Campbell Adams, so it's kind of, at the moment, seems like it's only Riley versus Greg, and that of course gives you high chances of taking a win when there's only 2 of you in a battle compared to 4 or 5. As we get ready to go for the Grand Prix, we have 5 red lights here in Imola for round 4 of the championship, and that's a drive. Oh, we've got a restart, surely.
Oh, yep.
Yes, I think we have.
Yep, I believe so. Yep, we've been conned there.
As soon as I saw the drive-through, I thought, right, that's it, we've got to restart. Oh! The view of turn 1 was quite funny there, with I think it was a Williams flying into the barrier, and then
I did say that.
And
I wonder if these guys are gonna have a fight back and do some practice laps.
Oh dear me! I mean, Riley and Greg decided to go for half a lap of racing before bidding it, and then I think it was Oscar who decided to end that with the race win. Very impressional show this. Why not?
Yeah, but
why not?
Yeah, so we'll have a quick restart and then should be getting underway proper very shortly.
Indeed, and look at the gaps there. So even though Oscar King won the race, Gregory Perugibble apparently finished 2.8 seconds ahead of him. Oh dear me.
It's always beautiful, the lobby restart.
Indeed, and I'm hoping that it's just straight back to the session and then we get going. I hope we haven't got to make a new lobby, because that will make things very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think it should be all under control. It's yeah, good to see we've got 43 people watching along as well. Welcome to everyone, and I can see everyone's getting quite excited in the chat for this race to get underway. And we are as well. So yeah, not too far away now, and should be interesting. It's good to see Riley McKay up front. See if he can hold that position into turn 1 and maybe give Greg a good run for his money in the first few laps.
Of course, and I'm sure that those two can work together here to kind of pull away from everybody else. Of course, use that DRS, swap every lap, and just pull a gap. That's what they'll be hoping for. They'd rather battle at the end with no cars behind them than they would with a car right behind them. So we'll have to see what their strategy is going into this. But also, there's definitely room for an alternate strategy. We saw that, at least I did, when I was here in Qatar, when we saw a couple of drivers go for something completely different, and it nearly worked, but just didn't quite. So I wonder if we'll see any more of those different strategies here in Imola. I'm not sure if it's a 1 or 2 stop race. I believe it is a 1 stop around here, but of course we'll see as the race gets going. And then, of course, we've just got to get everybody in their grid order, and then we can get underway for the race. We are staying in the original lobby, so hopefully not too long before we get going.
Yep, exactly. And we did also see the alternate strategy last week in Canada with Campbell Adams going on to an extra set of inters and nearly catching Greg at the end of the race, but Greg was just able to hold on with the skin of his teeth. So, yeah, I'm not sure if there is any rain involved. It did look pretty dry from what we saw, but if that's the case, there could be some changing strategies there. And some other interesting stories from the race that we'll have a look at. Oscar King has finished in 3rd place for all of the opening 3 races, so he'll be hoping to break that duck, obviously starting in 4th and try and finish on either the top 2. He'll be aiming for the win, of course, but trying to go that extra step further this week. Very consistent and in 2nd overall in the championship at the moment.
Yep, certainly. It's I think for Gregory now, it's more to lose than for Oscar to gain here at this point, because of course there'll be rounds where I think Oscar doesn't turn up. Campbell's obviously already missed too. So if Gregory stays here all season, that already gives him an opportunity to take the championship that way and just not have as much pressure on him as he probably does at the moment. I mean, he does have a 32-point gap, but there's still going to be a lot of pressure because there's still many rounds to go in this championship. And what we'll do actually is we'll have a quick look at the calendar for this season. So of course I haven't updated the graphic. It should have Gregory stamped on round 2 and 3 as well for Qatar and for Canada, but of course we're here for Imola for round 4, and then next time out we hit our halfway point of the season in Silverstone in Great Britain. Then we head to Spa for round 6, followed by Texas for round 7, Kota. Round 8, it's Mexico, and then, of course, our final 2 races, it's Brazil, and then we head off to Abu Dhabi. So Abu Dhabi, a perfect race to end off the season, but, of course, Mexico, that's a track that invites a lot of overtaking. Same goes for Brazil. So if we have a championship battle heading into those final couple of races, we could certainly see some quite some chaos, I think it's safe to say.
Absolutely, and all it takes is one little mistake to blow this championship wide open. As you said, Gregory Prisball does have a 32-point lead, but all it takes is one little mistake, 25 points the other way to Oscar King, and that gap closes right up. I'm particularly excited for these next 2 races. Silverstone and Spa always provide some good entertainment, great tracks to race as well, so that'll be great fun. But we are just about ready to go for this one in Imola. So, race is getting underway. Drivers just setting themselves up, and we should be green light for round 4.
Yes, hopefully not long to wait. Hopefully it's a short wait like it was after that qualifying session, and not like how we normally see it being like 2 minutes we have to wait for them all to get ready. Just ready up and go. That's what I want to do. We'll have a look at the tyres quickly on the race director. And I presume those softs will change from Ryan McKay. I'm sure he's not going to take softs into the race. And then everybody else on a medium. And a couple of drivers taking a hard tyre. So could possibly be a mix of strategy heading into this one. And then, of course, we'll have to see what happens after 32 laps here around Imola. Of course, overtaking is quite scarce. So you need to kind of get your moves done on those opening couple of laps. Or on the laps just after the pit stops. That's another chance for you to try and jump ahead of a couple of drivers. And we have been told the weather tonight, it's dry, wet, dry. That's going to be interesting.
That is very interesting. Yes, and that is really going to throw a spanner in the works for that strategy as well. So I think that's what drivers will be thinking about when they see that on their screens before the race.
Certainly. So maybe that soft tyre at the start for Riley wasn't the most out-of-the-world strategy. Maybe he is going for the softs at the start. We'll have to see. Of course, this means they're going to spend a lot more longer of a time now in the pit lane, looking to try and set up what strategy and what tyres they want to use, because they've got a very difficult race up ahead of them as we get ready for the action here for round 4 of the championship here at Imola. 5 red lights. And it's lights out as we head down to turn 1. A brilliant start from our top 2 as we open our race up. Of course, we can see Thomas McInnes there defending off from Oscar King down towards turn 1. Youssef looking to make a move up the inside as they head into the opening chicane. 3 wide for a moment. It's Team Axel in 3rd. Youssef jumps ahead in the Williams into 3rd place to take that final spot on the podium on lap 1. And then a really poor start for Oscar King down to P6 here under pressure from Ryan Bell. But a brilliant start from our top two to lead the way ahead of Yusuf in third, with T-Mac and Jack Humphries running off the top 5.
Yeah, that was a really bold move there by Yusuf down into the first chicane. He was able to make it stick incredibly well, and he's already come up from 6th up to 3rd place. So really impressive start from him, and he's already putting a bit of pressure on Gregory Prisball in P2. So really racy. Most of the drivers have opted for the hard tyres, except for Riley McKay, Yusuf, and Joey. Riley McKay on the softs, Yusuf and Joey on the mediums. That might be a reason why Riley McKay had such a good start there, and Yusuf as well, as he's currently chasing down. But Gregory Prisball might be setting up a move here into lap 2. He's closing in on Riley McKay. He will get DRS at the start of the next lap. It will be activated now, and he's going to have a go at him now, potentially chasing him down the main straight. He wants to make this move nice and early on, does he? He does lift off a little bit there, and he will just hold station for now. He'll wait for that DRS on the next lap, and he'll have a go then. But all fine through the first lap of the race, and Riley McKay is still leading.
Indeed, and Yusuf as well, all over the rear of Gregory Prisball, looking to make a move and possibly going to second. He does go up the inside in towards Tosa, but I think it's a little bit too late on the brakes. They do make a slight bit of contact on the exit of the corner as they now head up towards Piratella. Yusuf will be on the inside. Never mind, he backs out and sticks behind the back of Greg for now as they make their way down towards Aqua Minerale once again. So still Riley McKay leads, but give it another 2 or 3 laps, his tyres will definitely be starting to struggle compared to those on the hards and the couple of drivers on the mediums. And then, of course, further back as well, we can see Jack Humphries all over the back of T-Mac, looking to possibly jump up into the top 4. And I've got to say I'm surprised by Oscar King. Had a really poor start and nearly dropped outside of DRS for a moment and already under pressure from Ryan Bell. So it tells me he's had absolutely 0 minutes of practice here, it seems.
Struggling off the start there is Oscar King, and he'll be under pressure, but also this battle for the front. Yusuf has really been attacking Gregory Prisball. He might think that this is his only chance for the race here, potentially. If Gregory gets settled in on those hard tyres, it's going to be very difficult to catch him. So Yusuf trying everything he can there into the first corner, but just couldn't get close enough. Gregory also with the DRS advantage there. Did have to work hard to defend as Yusuf gets very close to the back there of Gregory Prisball. He's going to try and move again here. He doesn't, and just hold station for now. And Gregory Prisball has had a really good run and now has put a lot of pressure on Riley McKay. In fact, he might be going for the move here. He just backs out of it though, playing the long game is Greg. Everyone in the top 12 still in this DRS train to start us off. Seb King and Joey Snuff have just fallen off a little bit now. But this will be interesting as we head down towards the main straight shortly. Gregory Prisball very, very close on this occasion.
Certainly, and of course Greg will be looking to make that move as soon as possible because he knows that Yusuf is right there looking to make a move too and jump up into second place. So I'm sure Gregory will be looking for it down towards the Tamburello chicane as they head out of the final corner and back down towards turn 1 we go for lap 4 of 32. Of course, rain will be looming in the air shortly as Gregory Prisball takes a race lead ahead of Riley McKay in second, or Easy Mac, as you can see on your screens. And then Yusuf as well, looking to possibly go for a move. No. Backs out. If I was Yusuf, then I would have gone for it. Why not? Have a bit of fun, Yusuf. Go for a move in an unorthodox place. He might do in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Up the inside goes Yusuf Said, looking to make the move. Can't do so. And Riley McKay just about keeps ahead, and that shows how quickly those soft tyres are dropping off as we do see Oscar King looking for a send on T-Mac to jump up into the top 5.
Yep, and in the meantime, that battle has allowed Gregory Prisball a bit of time and a bit of breathing space. Yusuf did need to make that move here because you can see, as you mentioned, Riley McKay already with those tyres starting to drop off quite a bit, and the field is starting to get really bunched up behind as well. And Oscar King also back up into 5th place, going to be chasing after Jack Humphries, his next target. But can Riley McKay hang on to that DRS gap between himself and Greg? It's currently 7/10 at the moment. Jack Humphries has also had a very good run. The hard tyre runners starting to really warm into this race on lap 4. And we get down to the final Ravazza corner here. And Gregory Prisball leads the way for the first time this evening. Will he be challenged by anyone behind him? Riley McKay does have that DRS, but he's too far behind to make any sort of impression on the Red Bull there. And Ryan
Indeed.
Bell, in the meantime, getting past that T-Mac. Sorry to cut you off there, but he's up into P6 as well.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, Ryan Bell gets ahead of his teammate. I think T-Mac let him through, heading down that back straight. It looks like the Aston Martin really just moved over to the right-hand side, and Ryan Bell shot past and went into 6th place. But I think it's going to be difficult there for anybody to challenge Greg, because Riley and Yusuf are on different strategies. The next one in that train is Jack Humphreys, and no offence to Jack, he doesn't have the pace that he used to back in the day, so I'm sure it's going to be a struggle for anybody to even compete with Greg, never mind getting past him and going for the lead. So this now for Riley and Yusuf, and Jack is probably more focusing on 2nd place rather than going for that win. I think Greg now knows he's got a decent gap, knows he's lost DRS, he can just try and charge away and see what he can do. As Marcus Costa takes a penalty, and Joey Snarf there, I think, making another mistake, not being the best 8 in the office for Joey.
Yeah, and Seb King as well, dropping quite a bit off the back of that pack, and that's a big snap out of the final corner from Riley McKay. Is that going to bring Yusuf back into this one as we head down the straight? DRS open, Yusuf very close to Riley McKay on this occasion. He does just have the DRS from Greg in front, and that is what is going to hold him off, and he fought quite hard to stay in front. He's done well to keep Gregory within his grasp here, got to about 2/10 there as we head into the first chicane there. But he just has a lot of great pace through these corners, and the soft tyres still doing the job for now, but how much longer is that going to last? Is there going to be rain coming and a potential switch to inters very shortly? We will see. I assume it's very light rain based on the driver's choice to go onto the hard tyres, usually an option for most of the race if you are to pick that. And yeah, all the drivers still holding their spots for now, but this is going to open up very shortly if Riley McKay's soft tyres continue to degrade now.
Indeed, as Oscar King there for a moment was looking for a move ahead of Jack Humphreys in towards Variante Alta, but couldn't quite make the move and stays back in 5th. We have been told a minute ago, 6 minutes till rain, so you're still looking at 4 or 5 laps here, so it's going to be difficult for Riley to stretch this, because the rain needs to arrive and then it needs to become wet enough for you to switch on to winters. So Riley, I don't think will even get to the end of the stint here. 11 laps on a soft, at least. It's quite a long way to go on those tyres. And then, of course, Yusuf in 3rd will be looking to push on, and this could work for Yusuf here. Of course, he got a good advantage on the start being on the mediums, and I think 11 or 12 laps you can do that easily on a medium set. So this strategy might have worked for Yusuf. Trying something different, he's just got to hope that the rain is as heavy as expected as we head down towards Tosa Corner. Jack Humphreys there all over the back of Yusuf, but not able to find a move. Same goes for Oscar King on the back of Jack, as on many occasions has been looking for a move, but can never quite get ahead, and that just proves the difficulty that this track provides when it comes to racing.
Yeah, exactly. Only one real overtaking opportunity. There are a couple different spots that other drivers have tried moves at. We saw Yusuf earlier in the race try and move on Greg into turn 5, I believe it was, and it was unsuccessful. And we will see as we go down the main straight once again very shortly. Gregory Prisball just hanging on to a 9/10 lead, trying to get out of DRS range. I think Riley McKay might have gotten it, and Yusuf will be waiting to see if that rear wing opens, and it does, which should give Riley a bit of protection now. In the meantime, there is a bit of movement going on towards the back, but nothing, no overtakes doing at this stage. And the group is still very tight-knit. It's the top 12 all in that DRS train, and very difficult to break away from it, as has been shown here. And we continue on to lap 8 of this race. Still, the rain is coming. Riley McKay will be hoping for it as soon as humanly possible, because he has now dropped that 1 second gap to Gregory Prisball, who should be able to fly off into the distance now.
Certainly, and every time that Riley falls out of the DRS, he seems to get back into it, but I think this time it might be game over in terms of having that rear wing open down the back straight for Riley McKay. It could be the turn of Yusuf Syed to make the move and jump up into 2nd. He's all over the rear now of Riley, and so is Jack Humphreys tapping the back of Yusuf, and I think there's rain. A slide from Yusuf allows Jack Humphreys to go side by side and take that 3rd spot. Provisionally, he's all over the road as they head down towards the two Ravazzas. Oscar King there looming in the background, waiting for something to happen to help him as he goes up the inside of Yusuf, who's been absolutely swamped here on lap 8 of the Grand Prix, down to P5 potentially, could drop down to P6, but the rain has arrived on lap 9 of 32, and the question is, how heavy will it get? Because Riley McKay needs it to get heavy this lap so he can go straight into the box and go for a pit stop, and Gregory there, losing nearly a second down that whole straight, so he must have also made a mistake himself.
Yeah, really good. As Jack Humphries now makes a move on Riley McKay at a turn 2 there, and he's up into second place, so he's performing very well in these changing conditions now. And all of a sudden, there's a huge battle as now Oscar King has made a move on Riley McKay up into P3, who is all of a sudden going backwards. And you can see cars all lining up. The two Aston Martins now wheel to wheel with Ryan Bell and Thomas McInnes in the background. Ryan Bell just hangs onto that spot. But yeah, Yusuf now struggling in P5, just that one moment there. And Ryan Bell now having a look at the inside of him as well, and he just sneaks through. That's a bold move from Ryan Bell. Very nicely done by the Aston Martin. Gregory Prisball has now built up a huge 2.5 second lead as Ryan Bell up into P5. Yusuf, all those places he gained on the first lap have now fallen away from him, and he's back where he started in P6. And Thomas McInnes now putting pressure on him as well.
Certainly, as they head their way down to the Tour of Ats. Has any moves got to be made here? No. Potato also looking to get a move ahead of the Aston Martin, but not quite close enough through there. And Gregory is in. What about Jack Humphries? The same for him. Oscar, I presume everybody will be heading into the pit lane. But T-Mac has to continue on because he doesn't want to get double stacked behind his teammate. But with the lap times and the loss that they've had on that last lap, surely it might have been even better just to have that double stack. So I'm sure the order will look very similar once they've all been in. So Gregory, Jack, Oscar the top 3. Then we have Riley McKay, Ryan Bell and Yusuf, the top 6 here, with Trent, Marcus, Max and MJ, the top 10 after the pit stops. As there's a yellow flag, Joby Snarf.
He's spun around, looks like he's hit the wall there just before the pit lane. But yeah, T-Mac and Potato, the two drivers that have stayed out. It doesn't look like it's raining too severely, but obviously doing enough that the intermediates are going to be faster in this case. And Gregory Prisball has been able to maintain that lead. And Joey's still struggling at the back of the pack there. And I think his race might be pretty much done now. As we have a look now, Oscar King getting really close, as well as Riley McKay having to defend against Ryan Bell. So two different battles going on as the top 3 has kind of distanced themselves from the rest of the pack. Excluding the 2 out front that have stayed out. We'll see where they filter out onto the track. But Oscar King really all over the back of Jack Humphries on the first lap of these intermediate tyres. And he's not going to try anything into the chicane there too far back on this occasion. And now, as expected, T-Mac and Potato into the pits. But T-Mac has stopped and got overtaken there by Potato. I'm not sure what happened there in the pit lane.
Oh dear me. Has he just got caught off guard and Potato just shot past him?
Yep, I honestly have no idea, but we'll see where they filter out very shortly as Gregory Prisball now powers down the main straight and retakes that first place.
Indeed he does, with a decent 3-second gap. Back to Jack Humphries in second and Oscar King in third. Of course, he'll be looking to try and get that second place away from Jack, but it's not an easy one. It's not easy to make moves around here. Oscar obviously has more pace we've seen so far, but making a move is a different story. So we're going to have to see what he can do here. But of course, Riley McKay in fourth, also looking to push down. Of course, he's got a 2-second gap back, but surely can make that move soon.
Yep, and Oscar King will be looking to get out of his usual position, which has been third place for all of the races so far. Once again, finds himself in that spot. And we'll be fighting for P2 now against Jack Humphries. Very close battle, but Gregory Prisball, as many would have predicted, is in a good spot. And Oscar King gets pushed onto the grass there by Jack Humphries. Tried to stick his nose in a place where it probably didn't belong there. Jack Humphries just gave him a little push there. I didn't see the entire incident, but Oscar King onto the grass. He's able to save it pretty well and maintain that gap somewhat, but he tried to make a move there on Jack Humphries, was unsuccessful, and that gives us an indication of how Jack Humphries might defend this one against Oscar King. Does not want to give that second place up for anyone.
No, I mean, in most races, Jack's never really going to have a chance at going for second place, so for him, this is a really big opportunity, so he has to take it with whatever he can and just try and keep Oscar King back as we head down towards the Tamburello chicane, and Oscar's closing in, but not enough to make a move at all. As they head into turn number 2 at the Tamburello chicane, they make their way through, and yes, you can see him going in, but never enough to pull alongside and go ahead into second place. But we have got a battle forming further back with Ryan Bell, Yusuf Syed, Trent Newton all over the rear of Riley McKay, who has got pace but hasn't got enough to really catch up that quickly to the back of Oscar King and Jack Humphries as Ryan Bell goes for a little bit of a send, it looked like on my camera, in towards Tosa. So there's always an opportunity for possibly Ryan Bell to take a top 4, which I also wouldn't have said that would happen around 12 laps ago.
Yeah, exactly. And Riley McKay did start somewhat out of position there with a very impressive pole position. So he did very well to defend Gregory Prisball and Ryan Bell for as long as he has. And he'll be continuing to fight hard towards the end. But now Oscar King has reclaimed that advantage that Jack Humphries gained, and he will be putting a lot more pressure on. Jack Humphries will have a lot of work to do over the next 20 or so laps if he wants to hold on to this second place. Gregory Prisball, the win out of reach for almost any driver in this scenario, as Gregory Prisball has already pulled almost a 5-second gap as we head on to lap 13 of this race. Can Oscar King do anything to get ahead of Jack Humphries? He's going to be fighting hard, but Jack Humphries defending and will do enough there. Very difficult with that DRS down this straight. You got to have a good run and might have to look for an opportunistic move here as he tried to earlier. As Yusuf now picks up a 3-second penalty, that has turned his situation from bad to worse, already losing a few places on a few laps ago.
Yep, certainly not good at all there for Yusuf. Of course, had a really good start on those mediums, then fell off when the rain appeared, and then, of course, has now been stuck down in P6 with a penalty. As here is Oscar King looking to make the move ahead of Jack Humphries to go into second place, in towards Piratella. Is a little bit too far back, but Jack runs deep. The inside now in towards Aqua Minerale for Oscar King. Can he pull the move off? No. Has to stay back wherever Oscar puts the car. Jack Humphries covers him off. There's nothing here that Oscar can do to get ahead of the McLaren, and he's got to be more wary, I think, of not hitting the back or the side of Jack when he goes for a move. He's got to be very careful about how he makes this overtake if he wants to get it done as soon as possible. If not, he can just wait it out for the rest of this wet stint. Of course, we have been told that it could go dry later on, so with it being wet now and maybe Jack doesn't have the pace in the wet, maybe there's always an opportunity once again when it goes dry for Oscar to make that move, as Sebastian King takes a 3-second penalty. As we head back down towards turn 1, I don't think there's yet again anything that Oscar can do. I think it's all about rebuilding the battery down this main straight into the first couple of corners as well, and then burning it through that middle sector when you're trying to make a move.
And also, Riley McKay has caught up quite a bit to the back of Oscar King now within a second, as I believe that's Joey Snarf who's gone off there once again. He's just letting some lapped cars through, which is fair play to him. But this battle has now started to join us. Trent Newton getting past Yusuf in the Williams, but Yusuf going to fight back down the inside, and they're wheel locked almost there as Trent now tries to power through on the exit. Still wheel to wheel, Trent bumping into the side of him, and there's a lot of bumping going on, a lot of rubbing between the two of them, and Yusuf just hangs on to that position, but it might not be over yet into Aqua Minerale. It is now. Trent really keen to get through on Yusuf, but Yusuf not letting him through. That was a very interesting sequence there between the two of them.
Indeed, I think we saw exactly what Trent was trying to do towards Piratella once he got overtaken, trying to bump Yusuf and trying to stop him from gaining speed up towards the top of the hill, but it doesn't work and he stays in P7. So we continue on near the front. Of course, I'm not going to say at the front because that's Gregory Prisball by 5.8 seconds, but second place is starting to heat up. Of course, Riley McKay has gained in there within half a second of Oscar King. Ryan Bell follows him, so we do have a four-way battle pretty much for second place as we head back down towards turn 1. Is the move going to be on here for Oscar this time around? No, he's a little bit too far back once again as they head in towards the Tamburello chicane. Then of course we'll have to see what Oscar could do in the middle sector. It seems to be from this point onwards where he gets a good run and can look for a move, but he can never make it work. He's going to have to go for it into Tosa potentially to get ahead of Jack. Jack gets a decent exit, so let's see what Oscar can do. He does go for this, well, bit of a half-hearted send, but it's not enough to make a move as they make their way out of Tosa. A brilliant exit from both of them, but yet again, Jack just manages to pull away ever so slightly.
Trent was able to make that move on Yusuf Indatosa this time as well. So got the job done this time around. Had a bit of practice the lap before. And now he's moved up into P6 and he's going to try and join this battle for second place, which is continuing to grow as the DRS train is seemingly reconnecting back together without DRS in the wet conditions. So 3/10 is the gap. Oscar King doing really well in the middle sector of this lap, but Jack Humphries has just been able to hold him off for the last few laps, and we'll see if he can continue to do so. Ryan Bell having a go down the inside of Riley McCabe, wheel bumping once again. Riley desperate to try and hold that position, but Ryan Bell with a very opportunistic move gets that job done into P4. In the meantime as well, Oscar King still trying to chase after Jack Humphries, but once again to no avail. And there's fight back from Riley McKay here as well into turn 1. He gets it back into P4. Nicely done by the RB there. And Ryan Bell had a move there, but Riley McKay has taken it back just.
Indeed, a brilliant move there for a moment from Ryan Bell until Trent Newton goes up the inside of Ryan as well in towards the Villeneuve chicane. That was a bit of an interesting move, I've got to say. Goes for it again into Tosa and can't find the overtake. Stays in P6 with Yusuf Syed there in the background himself, looking to try and capitalise off something. As we go back up towards third place, it's still going to be Oscar King on the back of Jack Humphries. I think has a bit of a slide. If not, he tapped to the back of Jack heading out of Piratella. Of course, we have a really poor camera angle on the outside view there, so we couldn't quite see what fully happened, but it looks like a massive slide there for Oscar in the Ferrari as they head down towards Varignantielta and then back down towards the Ravazzas once again. Has Oscar got a run here? I don't think he has. He's burning the battery, but it's not going to be enough to make a send unless he goes for a very late move. No, stays back in third. Nearly taps the back of the McLaren through into the two Ravazzas, and then of course it's a fight back down towards turn 1. But I think the issue is for Oscar, he can't find any more pace on the exits where Jack Humphries can. Jack Humphries seems to pull on the exit every time. Oscar always loses on the exit, and that's what's harbing him because he's got better pace mid-quarter and entry, but on the exit he can never find anything as Yusuf makes a move back ahead of Trent Newton.
Yeah, that battle continues on between Yusuf and Trent, but looks like Jack Humphries has superior straight line speed compared to Oscar King, so Oscar King is going to have to make one of those opportunistic moves into one of these corners. Not going to get it done down the main straight without DRS assistance. So the Ferrari is going to have to improvise here and try and find a different way through. And in the meantime, Riley McKay has got a challenge of Ryan Bell behind him, still putting a lot of pressure on that RB is the Aston Martin, and doing a very good job there is Ryan Bell, moving his way up a couple positions, 4 positions in fact, in this race, doing a sterling job. And Yusuf again defending from Trent. So we've got 3 little battles of 2 here in a way, as Trent now has a look down the inside and wheel to wheel once again. And it's gotten a bit spicy between these two, and then now side by side heading into Ravazza. And Yusuf just hangs on once again, pulls ahead of Trent, who's just happy to sit behind for now. But yeah, 3 little battles of 2 cars in a very short space of each other. It's very interesting to watch at the moment.
Certainly is, and still watching on for Oscar and Jack. No move being made. Anything further back with Ryan Bell? No, he's also around 2.5, 3/10 back from overtaking for P4. But of course a brilliant battle between Yusuf and Trent there. A couple of times they've re-overtaken each other in very unorthodox positions, and Yusuf now jumps back up into the top 6, but of course has that time penalty as Ryan Bell nearly tapping the back of Riley McKay there through the Villeneuve chicane, but not going to be able to get anything in towards Tosa. It looks like Ryan Bell has got a little bit more pace than Riley as well, which is quite surprising to say. Normally you'd expect Riley to be on the pace of Greg and Oscar, but it seems that Ryan Bell seems to be a little bit quicker than him at the moment, so it could be potentially something to do with the wet weather here for Riley, not being his forte, it seems.
Yeah, and the track is now almost completely soaked, as we can see. That rain is really starting to come down, and it's going to only increase the difficulty for the drivers out here. And a bit of a slide there out of the chicane for Jack Humphries brings Oscar King right to the back of that McLaren once again. And is he going to make an opportunistic lunge here into Ravazza? He's having a look down the inside, and he has a little look at Jack Humphries, but nothing doing there, and he's going to have to sit behind for yet another lap, it appears. And he is very close to Jack Humphries, but once again, we see him pull away down the main straight, and Oscar King can't really do much about that. In the meantime, Trent Newton as well, having a look at Yusuf. Is he going to have a go? Not quite too far back once again. Everyone maintaining a similar gap at this stage, and everyone holds stations once again. Marcus Costa and Potato as well now catching up to this battle, and it almost becomes a 7-car train as those two slowly come up to the back of them now.
Certainly, is also Riley's also picked up the pace. That when they was heading down towards the Tamburello chicane, Riley was right on the back of Oscar as well. So that's something Riley's also got to be wary of. If he doesn't make this move quick enough, there's always a chance that he could get overtaken. Rather than doing the overtaking, that is safe to say. This is all over the back of Jack again. And I've got to say, Jack's defending has been absolutely brilliant so far. It's not saying that Oscar's overtaking hasn't been, or overtaking attempts haven't been good. Jack's just been brilliant in defending them. As we head down towards the chicane, they head their way through. And Oscar's got to get him on the exit. That's the main thing here for Oscar. If he can get a good run on the exit, he can then commit to an inside or an outside line in the braking zone, and then probably get the move done and get rid of Jack. As he goes to the outside in towards the two Ravazzas, a slight bit of contact as they make their way through. He then goes up the inside in towards the second Ravazza, but because of that loses time on the exit of the corner, and no move will be made there by Jack Humphries. As we head on to lap 20 of 32, and the gap now out front is 10.2 seconds between Gregory and Jack, because this is a move potentially by Riley McKay to the outside in towards the Tamburello chicane. Riley McKay takes third place, caught napping with Oscar King, and taking the opportunity is going to be Riley McKay. Ryan Bell now all over the back of the Ferrari.
Yep, you called it there, Nathan. He did need to get that move done, and Oscar King, in an attempt to try and make a pass on Jack Humphries, ended up losing time on that straight, and Riley McKay was able to take full advantage of that. And all of a sudden, he's found himself right back in the mix here in P3 after looking out of it for quite a long period in this middle stages of the race. And now he's quite close up to the back of Jack Humphries, could potentially take that P2 back for himself. Obviously, started in pole position only 20 laps ago, but has dropped down since. And we can see all of these cars. It's an 8-car train now, led by Jack Humphries, who is doing an incredible job using all of the experience he has to defend from the angry drivers behind him that want to get through. And as we look at that, Gregory Prisbill's sailing 12 seconds up the road now, and he is in a very comfortable situation should there have to be another pit stop. In the meantime, Riley McKay has had a great couple laps, and he is putting pressure on Jack Humphries. Is he going to have better luck down the main straight? He seems to be the only driver that was able to make an overtake, and he is burning, and he's getting a lot closer to Jack Humphries than what we saw Oscar King do. Is there going to be a move here into turn one? Jack Humphries defends the inside, and he places his car very, very well there, but runs a little bit deep into the corner. Could this give an opportunity for Riley here? There's a little bit of wheel bumping and contact, and that allows Oscar King to come through. Look at him sail through, and all of a sudden he's going to have a go down the inside of Jack Humphries. There's more contact between them two, and they both run off the track, and Riley McKay is able to go through into second, and Ryan Bell into P3, Trent into P4, and Ryan Bell and Trent now wheel to wheel, and Jack Humphries as well is fighting desperately for position. It's absolute chaos on the track here. Almost 4 cars and 10 metres separating them. Potato is now wheel to wheel with his teammate Yusuf. A bit of contact there as well, but Yusuf hanging on to that position. Jack Humphries all the way down into P8, and he is in a lot of trouble now, and Oscar King up into, down into P5, but Riley McKay took full advantage of that and was just able to sail through.
The potato there, slotted all over the road. Gets past Marcus Costa, who drops down to P9. Humphries back into 7th, Oscar King back up into 5th, and everything just almost exploded pretty much there, heading down towards the Villeneuve chicane. And dear me, that was interesting indeed. I'm sure there'll be many angry drivers after that one there. So maybe it's a good thing that Oscar or Jack isn't on the podium, because I'd not want to hear the words that they'll be saying after this one. But Ryan Bell promoted up to 3rd. Trent Newton up in the top 4, brilliant for him and the Haas team. But of course, Riley McKay capitalising off absolutely everything there and jumps up into P2. But of course, that also gifts another couple of seconds on the lead for Gregory Przebyl. 14.8 seconds now. Gregory leads this race, and I'm sure it'll be 15 by the time. There we are. 15 seconds, and I'm sure it'll be a lot more than that by the time we end this race. So, the question is now, can Trent Newton look to go for a podium? Because earlier on in the race, he looked very quick on the back of Ryan Bell. The question is, what can Ryan Bell do to hold him up?
Well, that little moment on the last lap has really shaken this order up, and a couple opportunities have arisen. Trent in P4 chasing after Ryan Bell, so they're up 4 and 6 places in this race respectively. And now this battle is really going to be interesting. Riley McKay had a really good set of laps there, and that's allowed him to have that opportunity to move into second place. It looked like he was in a bit of trouble there when Oscar made that move, but then tried to get a bit too ambitious there on the inside of Jack Humphries, and that allowed Riley McKay to sail past both of them in a very graceful manner in that RB. As we now head to the end of this lap, it looks like Riley McKay has got some very good straight line speed and maybe a bit lower downforce compared to some of the other drivers around him, which has allowed him to hang on to this position. And yeah, so Jack Humphries and Oscar King have a lot of work to do now. Jack Humphries in particular has dropped 1.5 seconds off the back of this pack, and he will be pretty frustrated by that, I'd imagine. He was looking set for a very good finish there in P2, but it's all been shaken up, and that last podium spot is very much up for grabs for anyone in that top 7.
Indeed, and I'm sure there was always an inkling of thought for both of us that something for second place wasn't going to quite end the way it was looking a couple of laps ago with Jack Humphries up in P2. But of course, Oscar King can try all over again. He's now on the back of Trent Newton and Ryan Bell, who've already been dropped by Riley McKay. So can Oscar King here still try and take a P3? That's the question. He's got some decent pace. He's catching up nicely. He luckily doesn't have any damage, it seems, on that Ferrari. So it's all to play once again for Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, very lucky that no one picked up damage or ended up facing the wrong way there. So Oscar King's still in this one. And the question is, can he get after Riley McKay? Probably the only driver that looked able to compete with him on raw pace. And there's only 8 laps to go in this one, so it'd be very unlikely for this race to dry up in time for any sort of shift to happen, as Ryan Bell now under a bit of pressure from Trent Newton, who is pushing hard to try and chase that Aston Martin down, but Ryan Bell looks to have weathered the storm there in this case. And looking a little bit further down, Jack Humphries now has fallen into the lap of Potato in the Williams, who had a bit of a wild couple of laps there back when that incident happened. And they will be scrapping over P7 now, which is not where Jack Humphries wants to be, as the front runners are still fighting hard.
Certainly, and of course with the penalty for Yusuf, there's still a chance that Jack can get a top 6 here, which I think most days he'd be quite content with that. A top 6, it's a decent result, but of course he was up in P2 as we continue our way on. 3/10 there, the gap between Trent and Oscar, and I think that is the main battle really here in this race. I think Ryan Bell's able to cover off that P3 nicely, but Oscar's going to be hungry, looking for P4, and then of course once he gets, or if he gets past Trent, it's then looking onwards and upwards to get him past Ryan Bell. Yusuf has dropped off the 1 second train as well, so he's also pretty much out of that battle for a top 5. As we head in towards E2, Ravazza's up the inside goes Oscar. That's an ambitious move, gets to the inside and gets the move complete into P4 goes Oscar King, but of course can Trent getting back down towards the Tamborough low chicane. It seems so far Oscar's had quite high downforce compared to others. It's made it difficult for him to overtake, it's made him difficult to defend, but for now does claim that P4 and has a 1 second gap between himself and a podium as they head their way through the first chicane down towards the Villeneuve chicane. And I think the corners mainly is where Oscar's finding the time. He's finding nothing on the straights or into the braking zones. It's all through those medium and low speed corners.
Yeah, exactly. And Oscar King really flexing his muscle there and muscling his way through on Trent Newton. And I'm not sure how much he would have appreciated that move, but he's through into P4 for now. and we'll see if he can make any sort of impression on Ryan Bell, who has looked very solid. Probably one of the most comfortable of the drivers up front. Hasn't really made too many errors at all, but he's 1.4 seconds off Riley Mackay, who's seemingly been able to run away with P2 for a little bit. So 7 laps to go. We'll see if he can hang on to that. Marcus Costa picking up another 3-second penalty, and he is leading sort of that back of the pack there, down in P9, who he did start all the way in P14, so it was a difficult start for him. He's done well to move his way up the ranks, and then there's a bit of a gap as it goes further down. Thomas McInnes has really dropped off in this one, as Plevs hasn't really been able to make much of an impression on this race at all. So it is this main pack now with Trent Newton chasing, trying to chase back Oscar King, and it doesn't look like too much avail on this occasion, but it is now only 1 second the difference between Oscar King and Ryan Bell, and that could be the next battle coming up here as we approach the final stages of this one.
Certainly could be, and I've got to say the pace from Riley's been really nice, because he's pulled that gap down by nearly 3 seconds to Gregory Progibble. 12.5 now between the top two. Of course, it's not going to be at a point where Gregory is going to be under pressure, but at least we know that if the race didn't start like this, we probably would have had a battle for the top two between Riley and Greg, which is safe to say. I'm keeping an eye here on Potato, Jack and Marcus. They're fighting for P7, 8 and 9 here in this one, and Potato's got some decent pace. Marcus has really started to catch up here after a poor qualifying, starting 14th. He's made a few moves early on, has had a couple of penalties here and there, but he's now looking to try and push forward and try and get a good finishing result as they head their way back down to Latoute Ravazzas. And then looking back up at the front, Oscar's got within a second now of Ryan Bell. Of course, normally you'd be thinking DRS, he's got to go for the move, but of course there's no DRS in the wet. It's about using that slipstream and using that pace, and Oscar's burning a lot of battery here to close in to the back of Ryan Bell down that main straight.
Yeah, that's right, and he's closing in slowly but surely, and he's gotten it to about 9/10. But this is going to be the crucial lap here for Oscar King. We know how fast he has been with his higher downforce setup through the middle part of the lap. So this is where Ryan Bell is going to have to work hard here to defend. And we know Oscar King doesn't mind a lunge either. So he will be putting a lot of pressure on that Aston Martin in the final stage of this race. He will really make him work for that podium. And it is, with these two now, got a bit of a gap either side of them, as Riley Mackay has just maintained that 2-second gap now, and Trent Newton slowly dropping off the back of this pack. So Oscar King has been able to gain quite a few tenths through this lap, and I think he will be able to put a lot of pressure here on Ryan Bell. But can he make a move like he was unable to against Jack Humphries earlier on? But we'll see if he will be successful on this occasion.
Indeed, as we continue our way on, of course, the gap's now 4 tenths between Ryan Bell and Oscar King as they head their way into the final couple of corners, and it looks like the rain's starting to actually get a little bit lighter. The track's getting a little bit drier in places, and with 4 laps to go, I wish it went dry now and we had to start thinking about pitting for dry tyres, but I don't think that'll be the case, as you actually see the drivers pull out to get a bit of water on the tyres to get them nice and cool, these intermediates, as they make their way through the opening sector once again. And 4 to go. There's still a battle for third. The battle for second is over. The battle for first, I think, is indefinitely over, with an 11.2 gap between Gregory and Riley. And then, of course, we've still got battles a little bit further down as well for P7, 8 and 9. And I've got to say, for a track that doesn't deliver with overtaking, and for the fact we've had wet running for half of the race and big massive gaps between the leaders, this has been a very entertaining Grand Prix. Most laps we've had something to keep an eye on at least.
Yeah, it's a very good point. We've seen a lot of interesting moves. The wet weather has allowed for a bit of spicy action where you wouldn't normally see it on the track. So that has been definitely a positive aspect of this race. And while we do have a bit of time, it's we've got to give a big shout out to Gregory Prisball in his performance this evening. 4 consecutive wins in a row it will be, barring any disasters. And it has been a very comfortable win once again, just showing his dominance over this competition and doing a fantastic job there up in first place. So we are on lap 29 out of 32. And Oscar King now chasing down Ryan Bell. He is closer than he has been on the last few laps, absolutely flying down the straight on this occasion, and has closed right up. So Gregory Prisball 1, Riley Mackay 2, Ryan Bell 3 for now, but there could be one final change coming up in the next couple of laps. We will see.
Indeed, as we do see Potato making a move ahead of Marcus Costa, or I think it was more the fact that Potato re-overtaken Marcus, because Marcus was already down in P9, so he must have made that move a lap or so earlier on as we head our way in towards Tosa. So yes, a nice move indeed by Potato to retake that 8th place, and that gap at the front is really flying down. I'm convinced Greg isn't pushing here. There's no way he is, because, I mean, not saying that Riley's slow, but 5 seconds in like 6 or 7 laps is a big gap to bring down as we make our way back in towards the Variante Alta, with Ryan and Oscar having a brilliant battle so far for 3rd, and that gap's come down again to a couple of tenths, as I think that's Joey Snarf's car again off at Ravazza. And let's see, can Oscar go for the move? No, he's a little bit too far back there. He nearly taps the back of Ryan into the braking zone, so he's got to get it done down towards Tamburello if he wants to make it done with 2 laps to go. This is going to be an interesting one down towards the Tamburello chicane, and it just seems that, for me, I think it's that higher wing which is harming Oscar here.
Yeah, exactly, and here he goes down the inside. He did have a good run, and just a little touch on Ryan Bell there. He got very close, did Oscar King on this occasion, and that has cost him a little bit of time. But yes, you do make a good point. Oscar King maybe going a bit more towards that wet setup with the high downforce, and usually that would be an advantage in most cases, but on this track where it is very difficult to overtake, it is a little bit more of an advantage to have that lower downforce, which gives you a little bit more opportunity to overtake down the straight, which, yeah, it's made overtaking life very difficult for Oscar King in this one. But he is chasing after his 4th consecutive 3rd position here, so if he wants to keep it consistent on the podium every single race, he needs to get this move done in the next lap or so, and he's done a pretty good job at catching up to Ryan Bell after that little mishap at turn 1 there.
So the rain stopped. I think it has, hasn't it? The rain looks like it's stopped. So the Inters are going to get very hot very quickly, with the fact that it is going to get drier. And there is dry lines starting to form. And I think we've got the same as always, Jaden, in the sense of as soon as it stops raining, it just... Oh, is that... Oh, I thought that was Riley going into the pits. No, never mind. It was Joey's lap's car. But no, as soon as it goes dry, with the fact there's no rain, the track just goes dry immediately. There's no drying process. It just goes dry. And maybe this could help Oscar. We'll have to see. Having that drier track, where he's looked a little bit stronger this evening, or this morning, I should say, for myself, this could be a good opportunity. To the inside in towards the Villeneuve chicane. He's looking to make the move. He's going to have to go for it into Tosa. Going to have to go to the outside. You can see Ryan defending all over the road in towards the braking zones. A half spin there, and nearly Oscar King sending the car round. But of course, after this lap, there's one more chance for Oscar King to try and do something in this race, and at the moment it's looking even less likely as the corners go on. It seems he's just got maybe no confidence to make a move either. With Riley Mackay, he went for it and got it done, whereas Oscar's looked a little bit more laid back and conservative with his moves.
Yeah, he's been a lot more comfortable, that's for sure, Ryan Bell, but also the tyres for all of the drivers out there will not be enjoying these conditions, so it's who is going to be able to handle this the best. And is Oscar King now going to have a look here into Ravazza? He's getting very close. He's trying to tee something up here as we now are on the final lap of this race, round 4 OFI. And Oscar King is going to be trying to fight for this place on the podium. It's Ryan Bell versus Oscar King down the main straight, but Ryan Bell has had an extremely good run, and it's not going to be a move into turn 1 for Oscar King. He's going to have to find somewhere else on the track to make this move into P3 at the moment, because he's just a little bit too far back at this stage.
Indeed, and we've got one lap to go. One last chance for Oscar King to go for a podium as they head in towards the Villeneuve chicane. He's going to tap the back of Ryan, has a bit of a slide and loses a couple of tenths there heading into the braking zone of Tosa. And I don't think there's much more that Oscar can do. He's over pushing the car here, he's making mistakes, and I think that is P3 covered for Ryan Bell. But of course, heading back to Gregory Przebyl, what a race it has been by him. It's like watching Max Verstappen all over again. We don't see him for the remainder of the race. We see him at the start, we see him at the pit stop, and we see him at the end. 32 laps completed for Gregory Przebyl once he exits the final 2 corners, and he'll take a win by nearly 11 seconds here in Imola, as he of course took the win in Australia, took the win in Qatar, Canada, and he'll add Imola to that tally. It's 4 in 4. Gregory Przebyl wins the Imola Grand Prix, and second place. Heading through the second regatta now, it will be Riley McKay. Of course, a bit of a dodgy start for him, dropped a couple of spots, but comes home to claim P2. And then after a brilliant battle all race long, Ryan Bell reigns off the podium in Aston Martin ahead of Oscar King in P4, who was trying, but could never get it done. And brilliant. Gregory's left the lobby, so we're now going to have to figure out where everybody is.
Yep, he did it. Yeah, left quite quickly there. Very happy with that result. Will Gregory Przebyl be? But yeah, Jack Humphries coming in behind Trent there, it appears, and then Yusuf, Potato, MJ, Roller, and Thomas McInnes will round out that top 10. So, pretty good race there. A lot of most drivers finishing similar spots to where they started in the end. After Jack Humphries, who started in 5th place, finished in 6th. Unfortunately for him, a tough afternoon or evening, I should say, for Jack Humphries. But yeah, it's been a good one. Gregory Przebyl gets the job done very comfortably. It is a familiar sight for OFI in recent seasons, and he has done very well. Riley McKay had the pole position and lost that lead on the 3rd lap, and was able to come back to 2nd. He had a couple off laps there and did a very good job to return to that position. And then Ryan Bell, a very composed drive in P3 as well. Well deserved for him. So yeah, pretty good race overall. A lot of great battling in that upper midfield there for the podium. And I think the top 3 were all very well-deserved podium finishes there.
Yeah, certainly. I think for me, it's easy to go to Gregory and say driver of the day, or it's easy to say that about Riley with his quality performance. But for me, it's got to go to Ryan Bell, because he looks like he was under no pressure. It was like watching post-Zandvoort Oscar Piastri, in the sense of he just turns up, does his job, and boom, he takes, like, it was so calm and collected from Ryan all race long. So for me, he's my driver of the day. Who would you give it to, Jaden, if you had to pick someone?
Yeah, Ryan Bell's a very good option there. Obviously coming up through the pack as well, did a fantastic effort. But I would give my driver of the day to Riley McKay, because that was just a fantastic performance there. Didn't expect to be up as high as he did. A great qualifying effort. And then under a bit of adversity and pressure early on, just was able to come back and actually show some great pace towards the end of the race with those intermediate tyres on. So both very good contenders. And yeah, so both very thoroughly deserved driver of the day.
Indeed, and I presume we'll get a couple of them dragged in shortly. I'm going to wait for Slabber to give the go-ahead, because last time he dragged them in, so I don't want to disrupt him and yes, and he can get angry at me. So we'll just let them know that they can drag the drivers in, and then we can speak to Riley and Greg. I think Ryan will be there. I hope Ryan's there as well, because I want to talk to Ryan about his race. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that was... Oh, never mind. They're all there. So we'll wait for them all to hop up into the interview room. And then, of course, we'll have a chat with all 3 of them. And we'll bring in Ryan Bell first. Ryan, welcome in. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So that was a very calm and collected race from you. Of course, you had Oscar King behind you all race, pretty much. And that is one of the last drivers that you want behind you for the remainder of a race, especially in difficult, wet conditions around Imola. Talk to me with those last 15 laps where you kind of had to lock in and just hope you could hold on to that podium. What was your thoughts going through your mind? Because surely you're shaking at the wheel trying to hold on to that podium.
Oh man, I was locked into the max. Like, I haven't done much league racing in the last 2 years, and geez, I was just like, I was sweating hard, man.
Indeed. And of course, what was your ambitions going into this one? Because of course, qualifying didn't go too well. I think it was P9 there for you, or P8. What was you kind of expecting going into that 32 lap race?
Well, I wasn't really expecting much. I just wanted to stay out of trouble, and just follow the pack. I thought it was going to be a bit of like a DRS train, but it turned out to be a real good race with that wet weather, and yeah, I was loving it out there.
Definitely, and of course, to the end, Oscar was all over the back of you. Was it, what kind of helped you keep that P3? Was it to do with straight line speed? Was it, the exiting speed? What was it that kept you ahead of Oscar? Because it seemed on many occasions he was all over the back of you, but never really had a chance to get past.
Oh, to be honest, I just saved my battery the whole lap, and I just dumped it out of the final corner every lap just to try stay ahead. So that's all I could do.
Indeed, and I think it worked out quite nicely. Of course, a P3 for you. Before we let you go, of course, next time out we head off to Silverstone. What are your thoughts for that round?
Oh, it's a good track. It'll be fun for racing, but I guess a lot of DRS overtakes, so we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. Well, Ryan, thanks for popping in for a chat. Pleasure as always, and hopefully we'll see you again in the remaining rounds.
No, we will. Sweet. Thank you.
There we have a good night, mate. And next we'll have Riley McKay. Jaden, would you like to have a quick chat with Riley?
Yeah, absolutely. Riley, great effort from yourself tonight to firstly get on pole position. You might not have been expecting that at the start of the night.
Well, I don't know. These boys practicing for PSGL. I mean, I didn't do much practice either, but I go into every race with aiming for pole, as does everybody. Everybody else. Wasn't expecting the gap. I think a couple of people probably just a lot of mistakes. I think not everybody got a clean lap in. Just it was literally the first lap, and you don't want to invalidate that first lap. I think Marcus kind of sold his first lap, and you saw he's down at P20 or P14, whatever it was. And then that's kind of like it's GG's for the race. Like it's hard to overtake this game. Track position is very important. And so, I think I just wanted to get a clean lap in, and I did. I was happy with the pole. Unfortunately for the race, the games put me on softs, so it's a little bit over. But
Yeah. Yeah, so a bit of a game issue there for yourself, but yeah, you're able to handle it pretty well. Obviously, very tricky conditions in the race there with the switch to intermediates, and you look to have sort of fallen away from the pack at the start, but you made a resurgence when you went onto those inters and were able to talk us through that when you moved on to those intermediate tyres and were able to get up into second place.
yeah, I think as most people I put a bit of wing on the car. Um, for the wet. Didn't think it actually ran the whole race, so I probably should have put a little bit more on, but whatever. Um, yeah, look, passing in the wet in this game is extremely hard and whatnot. Jack wasn't awfully fast, so Greg was able to get away, and I'm assuming just save tire because he did kind of pace me a bit on the last lap. Um, you know, so yeah, P2 sort of was the maximum after about like lap 20. With also a lot of fighting from me, Oscar, Jack, and Fever, Ryan Bell behind, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, sort of just picked my points of attack pretty well. Sort of first lap going for a move, I was able to get pretty close to Jack into turn one, just a little dummy. He went a little bit deep. Sort of a double switch back with the way that the first sector works. Sort of wheel hooked a little bit, but a little bit of whatever. It's nothing too serious. And then sort of him and Oscar go off the track. There's the chicane, following chicane, so I'm able to get through and push and do my race, my pace, and from there on it was just very simple. But it was honestly a lot of fun still. Tires were pretty close to puncture by the end with how much it dried up. So yeah, a couple factors to consider, but yeah, I think I just got potentially a little bit lucky with how that sort of ending of that battle turned out. So yeah.
Yeah, very nicely done, opportunistic as well to get yourself past both of them. And moving forward into next week at Silverstone, how are you feeling about that one? Have you got a good chance, do you think, for that?
Yeah, I think I have about the same chance as every race. Just got to put it together. There's a lot of talented guys here. Greg and Campbell in F2 and whatnot. So it will be a pretty boring race. I think DRS there is pretty powerful, but the dirty air is even worse. So qualifying will be pretty important there. Sort of looking forward to it because it's fun track to drive, but maybe not to race. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on your results tonight and good luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks, mate.
Whereas, and I'll hand it back over to you, Nathan, to interview our winner once again.
Can you hear us, Greg?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. So this is starting to get a little bit boring now for me. Every time I'm in here, you're winning a race, which is something I don't see often. So, first of all, congratulations. Dominant win by 10 seconds. It's becoming a little bit of a farmers league for you, isn't it, this one?
Oh, well, I'd say all things considered, it went pretty well. Felt like I got blocked a little bit at the end of qualifying, so that kind of ruined the chance for Paul, but whatever. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward after I saw Riley on softs. Just needed to get in the lead and win. So and that's what I did. So yeah, not bad.
Of course. And Silverstone, a track we head off to next, of course, a track that's used heavily in league race and a track people tend to practice quite a lot for. Are you excited for that one?
Yeah, it's don't particularly love it, but it'll be fun, I guess. Just try to extend the lead again. Just keep doing my best, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, you have like a 40-point gap, I think, now to second place. And of course, with the fact we've had Campbell miss a couple of races, it kind of makes it more now into a bit of a two-horse race between you and I think Oscar is in second or Riley, one of the two. So, of course, with 5 rounds to go, surely you can start to, I wouldn't say relax a bit, but you haven't got as much pressure on you now, have you, to win every race because you've got such a gap already?
Yeah, I think with PSGL happening tonight was sort of damage limitation, but ended up winning. And yeah, of course, Campbell not showing up. He's probably the main rival, I'd say. But now he's quite a while back. So I think I don't want to start getting complacent or cocky. Just keep doing my best. It's not over till I've sealed it. So just have to keep going.
Definitely. Well, Greg, thanks for popping in for a chat. Great to have you in here, as always, and hopefully we'll see you next time out in Silverstone.
Yep, thanks, Nathan.
Have a good one, mate. Bye-bye. Right, and there we go. We'll pop back over to the cam screen quickly as we have a little bit more time. But great to speak to our top 3, as always. One of the only leagues I commentate in where every race you're guaranteed to speak to the podium sitters. So great to hear from them all. And, of course, as we did mention a couple of times, we head off to Silverstone next time. A track that, like I said to Greg, everybody seems to practice that track all the time. It's one of the most popular on the game. So this is a track where I think it'll be more competitive because everybody else has practiced this track a lot more than they have the likes of Imola or Qatar, for example.
Yeah, definitely. And it is always providing some great action for us. So can't wait to see that race unfold next Thursday night, same time. So yeah, it's been a really fun evening, and I'm sure we'll see some great stuff again next week. As I can see, you brought the calendar up there. So Silverstone next time out, and then we got Spa, and then Austin, and then Mexico, and Brazil, and Abu Dhabi to finish us off. So we're almost at the halfway point through this season, and it's gone by quite quickly.
Yes, it has. It certainly flew by. Of course, we are back next week on the 30th of October. And I'm going to ask you because I know you have different times. Is it the same time now, or did you already go? Have you already gone forward or back with the clocks, or does it change again?
We're already gone forward now, so it should be same time every week from now on, I believe.
Perfect. There we are. Because I'll get too confused with all these different time zones and daylight savings. So at least we now know same time here next week in Australian time. I'm sure in the UK the time zones change, but I don't think it actually affects the time of the race. I think it just means we're going to lose an extra hour of sleep, and then we'll be another hour forward. So once again, a big thank you to everybody for joining us here for the 4th round of this championship. We're back next week, 30th of October, same time, same place, as we head to Silverstone to begin the halfway point of the season. Of course, a big thanks to Jaden for joining me in the commentary box, and then, of course, to Slammer for organising everything, and, of course, the drivers for taking part. I'll be back next time, then I'll be back again in round 9 and 10. So, of course, farewell for now, and we'll see you next week for round 5 of the championship. Good night.